Hey Titans, this video is to help you use PREZI. So we're going to go to Google Chrome first. You may have to click that start button. Now it's going to bring you here, but you don't have to sign in. You could just X out one of these windows and type in whatever you want. And just go to Google. So I can go to PREZI by typing in PREZI Bolger Sear. Now a lot of things are going to come up. Some of these links for some reason don't work, so we're going to skip down to the one that says Sean Sear on PREZI. That one allows you to get up to here, and then you're going to select the first PREZI, which is it means interactive presentation. So you're going to click this one. Okay, once it loads, it's going to show you the outline for the course. Okay. From here we want to go to full screen so we can actually see things, and you might hear music playing. You can click allow here. If you want, you can mute your music. You could do that by just going over here, and it'll mute the music only for PREZI, which means that if you want to, you can listen to your own music at the same time, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a sec. But this is how you're going to look through to figure out what you're supposed to do every day. So there's an introduction to me here, which you're going to listen to, and then this is the school, and this is my class within the school, and then if I click on something, well, I have to click this first, otherwise it won't work. So I'm going to turn this off. So if I click this arrow here, it'll zoom into the introduction, the very beginning of the PREZI. However, I don't really like this feature. You're going to have to click it a few times just to get this thing going. You could see that you could scroll in and out of the PREZI using the mouse scroll, the wheel, or it's a sphere in your guys' case. So what I want to do is I want to navigate through the PREZI and see where I'm supposed to go. So if I click an empty space on the PREZI and drag, it allows me to move the screen. I can't change anything about the PREZI, so don't be worried that you're going to mess something up. Now I can go to Computers and Art, because that's the class that we're all in, and I'm going to go through the pegs. Now here's my grading policy. You guys are going to watch that, and then there's going to be a video here about how to set up your desktop to get started. That is going to get all your little buttons on your screen that I'm going to use shortly. Then you're going to follow on to grade 5, assuming that you're in grade 5. This is level 1, which is what I consider grade 5 to be. It means it's an introductory course, and even if you're in grade 6, I might have you do some level 1 projects because they are the beginning steps to learning the programs. So I might have 6th or 7th or 8th graders, if you're new to the school, coming into this, or new to Photoshop and Illustrator and SketchUp, coming into this part of the program. So if I go down to the first project, we can see it's the Photoshop projects, and I can click any of these circles and it'll let me go specifically to that circle. So here is your first major project, the Zoo Science project, and you can see that it starts off with an introduction. So you want to read the introduction, and I'm not going to read it to you, you're not going to read it now, and then you could scroll through the rest. This is some related vocabulary that you could learn within the lesson. You could get an idea of what the words mean here. You could see what the words that are needed, the words that you might not know, are highlighted in blue, and they lead to the related vocabulary. So when you're reading your daily objectives, which you have to do every day before you get started, it's going to allow you to understand what some words that you might not have known what they mean. So if today was the first day, my daily objective is I will use the paintbrush and related tools to make 4 abstract designs. And if I'm not sure what abstract designs means, I can read this and look at these pictures. Okay, this is going to tell me the vocabulary that I'm responsible for to understand my objective with multiple filters. Now, I'm not sure what multiple filters means actually, being that I'm a new student like you. So I would probably want to continue on and see how I can find out. So after I know my first daily objective, which is the only one I'm going to do right now, I can read the next bubble. And the next bubble talks about how to name my file. Now if I scroll out a little bit, I can remember that this is a Photoshop project. So right now I'm going to get out of this screen by pressing escape rather, the top left-hand corner escape button. And I can make this window a little bit smaller. And instead of using the methods I showed you earlier, I'm just going to drag it so it shows just the PREZI. Now here we have the setup complete, so if you've done that step, you'll be able to access your Photoshop button, and you also will notice that you're able to access your tabs. So while Photoshop is opening, I'm going to quickly open up another tab for you to show you some other things. All right, so that YouTube tab is opening just so I don't have to wait for it to load. And if I go back and click the Photoshop button again, we can see that it's open. If you see this frame here, that means that Photoshop is open, and the next step is to file new. However, when you file new, you'll see, oh, well, what do I do with all this? So you can go click your Prezi, and you could zoom in to that specific area called naming your file. So if we go over here, it tells us how to name the file correctly. We're using our last name, then our first name, then our grade, and then something that's called the product code. That means it's specific to this project. So just by the file name, I'll be able to tell what it is you're doing. So basically, we copy that with our own name. So my first name, my last name is Sear. My first name is Mr. And I'm going to pretend that I'm in grade 5 for this project because it's a grade 5 project. And then I'm going to type in the product code, which is ZS1. Now it also says that when I move on to the second file within the same project, I have to change this to a 2. So if I were working on my second zoo sign, I would change that to a 2, and so on as I go through the third, fourth, and fifth zoo sign. But I'm going to leave that as 1 for right now because that's what I'm working on. Now, as far as the width and height, well, I wish I put that on there. I'm going to have to put that on there. And these are my tools. The toolbar that I showed you inside the Prezi, which I'm going to just move this over here for the moment, is a little bit different. So if you scroll over here, it talks about the tools that you're going to be using in this assignment so that you recognize them. So this is the move tool. This is the, well, I'm going to zoom in so I can see a little bit better. This is the magic wand. This is the brush, eraser, paint bucket, the type tool. Now the rest of these tools are awesome tools, I'm not going to lie, but you're going to learn them. You're just not learning them today. So I'd recommend to stay away from them because they're going to cause you problems and then you're not going to know how to solve them without asking me. And I really want you to focus on the tools that we're learning in this project. So pretend that the rest of the tools are closed off to you until I come over and help you with them if there's a time that you need them, which will probably be in later projects. So after you get an idea of what your tools are, these are, and by the way, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see that I'm not skipping anything. I'm basically going around the entire Prezi bubble. So now I see that there are videos. These videos link to YouTube. And if I go like this, you can see that it starts my first video. Okay, so now, being that I have both windows open, I can just play part of the video until it gives me a direction. And then, after I've heard the direction and seen it happen, I can go back over here to my actual document and do what it tells me to do using the tools over here. You could set up your screen however you want. If you prefer your Prezi to be on this side of the screen, you can move all these windows, okay? The last thing that I'm really going to talk to you about is these videos, first of all, are the main core of the course. If you refuse to watch them for some reason, you're probably going to fail. This is a self-reliant class, which means that you're not reliant on your teacher for every little problem. You're going to use the tools like the videos, the handouts, the sidebar, maybe a friend, maybe Google if you have to ask it a question like how do I use transform in Photoshop. Those are things that you're going to use to figure out the answers to your questions, not the teacher, unless it's something that you know is not covered in those things and you know by checking, okay? All right, so you just go watch the first video. Once you complete it, you start the second video, and of course, you do the third video. Now, this icon is so important. I wish I put it all over the place in this Prezi. Every time you do something cool in this class, I want you to press Command S. Command S, if you look on your shortcuts on your sidebar, you'll see that it's the fourth one down, and it means save. So that saves your project. If you don't save your project and your computer goes out because of power failure or the kid next to you kicks out the cord accidentally or something like that, this way you'll have it saved and you won't have to redo anything. Now, for some reason, some people really have trouble with the videos, even though I find that they are the most clear and fast way to do the right thing and get a good grade. Sometimes people have trouble, so in some cases I made you a handout which visually just tells you everything that you have to do. This may look simpler, but there's way more ways that you'll make mistakes if you follow this, so I recommend highly that you at least try the videos first. However, some people want to see something like this, so I made it for them as an extra help. Okay, so after we see the handouts, You can see the student examples. Later on, you're going to compare your works to these to see if they have the same kind of feeling that these have. However, you don't have to look at them now. It's a good idea to know what your goal is in the future of the assignment, but if you follow the tutorials step by step, you should end up with something here anyway. Now, if you want to see my examples, you can zoom in and see any of my examples, the ones that I made, my name are on them. And also, if you want to see related professional work, which means work that is similar but not necessarily in the same guidelines or rules that I may have made for the project, but you can see that this is a similar type of thing that an artist did, a professional artist. Okay, so that's what that is for. Scrolling to zoom and clicking empty space to navigate. There's a checklist for every time you're done with one of the files. You check the checklist, make sure you have everything. This guarantees you pretty much a B if you have everything on here, a B or B+. Now you're like, a B or B+, I don't want a B or B+. Well, you got to do something creative in your projects to get that A, and that's not covered in your checklist. That's just something special that you'll have to explore to find. Like maybe you're using 6 different filters and you're coming out with something that nobody in the class has seen before. That's something that'll nail you that A. Or your project is very, very neat and it has like maybe a filter that is pretty rare. That's another way to get yourself an A. Maybe you're using animals that nobody else used, or bugs or birds or fish that nobody else has used. Now, this is going to be filled in with the extra credit project, which I don't want to reveal yet, but that's how you find that. You'll be able to see what those things are then. All right, so I pretty much covered this whole bubble, and that's how Prezi works. After you finish this project and you talk to me and I make sure that your project is the best you can do, that may be the time that you move on to the next project, or it may be the time that I tell you to focus on the extra credit because you're done a little bit early and you want to make best use of your time. But I think that other than that, once you watch the videos and you're able to work on it yourself, you've already followed the video and you're capable of continuing the project on your own, that's when you could go to YouTube and listen to your own music while you're working. Please don't do it before that. I also may ask you in the beginning of each day what objective you're on. And if you don't know, or at least have the Prezi open so that you can figure it out, I'm probably going to give you a penalty on your music which will last 10 minutes, which means that you basically have a muted sound system for the next 10 minutes because you didn't bother to check your objectives, okay? So just know which one you're working on each day. If you completed this one and this one on the first day, then on the third day you're going to look at your project, say, oh, well, I already used the paintbrush and related tools to make 4 abstract designs, those are 4 separate files with multiple filters, and I incorporated 4 photographs that follow the restrictions in the video, 1 in each design, then you obviously are on the third step. It has nothing to do with what day you're on because you're all moving at your own pace, okay? So just so you know, you're responsible for knowing that information. All right, well, I think that that's enough to get you started using Prezi to become self-reliant students. And hopefully you'll enjoy using the Prezi because I worked really hard on it. I hope you like it. I'll be adding to it constantly, by the way. Some of them have, this is the most complete one, which is why I showed it as an example. But these are going to have more as we go through the course. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave feedback, subscribe if you wish, and tighten up, Titans. Have a great day.